here I am on this beautifully orchestrated day in February in Michigan, where it's right now 60 degrees and the sun is shining very warmly. The winds are quite high, so every once in a while you might hear that more than my voice. But as I'm taking this walk, Spirit is guiding me to talk to you about something I do not want to talk about something that I have not talked about for 4 years, for fear of ridicule, and more so ridicule against me, judgments, and how I know that my word and the things that I say affect other people deeply, because people that know me know that I'm authentic in what I say, and I never say anything to intentionally hurt anybody. And yet, sometimes truthful words are really painful to hear, and I struggle with that sometimes, sharing my truth and sharing things that I have learned, for fear about how it will rock other people's worlds and how it will challenge their faith and what they believe in. And for years, I have seen this as something that I don't want to do, as a negative, and as I don't want anybody to go through the dark night of the soul like I did. But that's my question for you today. I'm wondering, have you been through the dark night of the soul? And if you have, are you out of it yet? How long did it take you? And how did you come out of it? Did you do anything in particular that helped you get through it? Because, let me tell you, there's a big difference between going through the dark night of the soul and being depressed. And that difference is what really, really rocks your world and makes it really difficult. And let me tell you, pills do not help. Pushing it away does not help. Avoiding it does not help. Trying to pretend that everything is okay does not help, because when you're going through the dark night of the soul, everything that you thought you believed is challenged in ways that you never expect. And for me, that all started back in 2020, or really 2019 is when it started, because as soon as I heard about the sickness coming across China, Spirit told me, be ready. Be ready for everything that's coming. Protect yourself. Do not listen to the things that are being told. Do not listen to the media. Do not listen to the fear. But listen to me. And I did that, and I am so grateful that I did that. But at the same time, watching everything that happened around me, particularly starting in the church. And when I talk about in the church, I am not talking about the church that I went to. I am talking about the church, capital C, in general. Religion and 501c3s, and how they really are tied to the government. And then I started doing research on the history of Christianity, and I started learning about the real meaning of words and not just what we're told that they mean, such as mourning. When I say good morning to you, mourning actually is mourning, like I'm mourning a loss. And so when you tell somebody good morning, you're contradictory in your words, and that's why sometimes it doesn't feel right. So that's why sometimes you see people saying grand rising. But I regress. So, digress would be the word. Spirit lead me. So, the Church Universal as a whole, as they accepted the media's concept of what was happening, and as they shut down, instead of doing, as the word tells us, do not forsake the gathering of the saints, they closed down really easily and really quickly and claimed that they weren't doing that because they were online, which is complete and total bullshit. It was still forsaking the gathering of the saints. They were not gathered. They were not in a community. They were not there to lift and uphold each other. And then as churches opened, they kept the 6-foot rule and they divided people and they set them apart. And they told them that they had to wear masks. And I'm sorry, but if you know what breath is, just look it up. Look up what breath is. Breath is spirit. Every time you put on a mask, you're covering your spirit. Oh God, this is what started my dark night of the soul, because I was in Myers and I heard Spirit say to me, my people will die from a lack of knowledge. And I look around and I'm the only one in Myers without a mask. Everybody else has got one on. And it broke me because it felt so real and so true. And then they came out with experimental medical device, I will call it. And the churches fell for it. And in fact, there were many churches that allowed people to come get vaccinated, that come get the experiment done right inside of their church. How you cannot think that this is against everything that Jesus ever said to you, I don't understand, but people didn't see it, and they still don't see it. They still don't see it. It was all government control, and the churches just bowed right down to it. So then as I started looking into the history of Christianity and what things really meant, I learned that everything that I had been taught was not true. It was not accurate. There's so much more going on that they don't want us to know about. And then came all the other things. Yes, people would call the conspiracies like cloud seeding and sun blocking, or as I call it, geoengineering and chemtrails is what they say is a conspiracy theory. But what's really funny about that is if you look it up and you don't just listen to what they're telling you, you would find out that they used it all the way back at the Vietnam War and in World War II. Hi. They used it in the Vietnam War to win the war and to cause mudslides so that they could get done what they needed to get done. If it's been being used that long, you look up and you see things being sprayed in your skies. Well, most of you aren't even looking up, you're looking down. You're not looking up to the skies like you're told to do. You're just looking down at your feet. You can't make eye contact. You can't look up in the sky. Because if you looked up in the sky and you saw what they were doing, you would realize that you are being poisoned every single day. Look it up. Look what chemicals are in those. And then watch how often your sky gets clouded with this shit. All of the time. But they tell you it's a conspiracy. And then there's a whole flat earth, round earth, spinning earth. And you know what? I could give a shit if the earth is flat or if the earth is round. What I care about is that the earth is not spinning millions of miles per hour. The sun is not that far. The moon is not that far. And if you read your Bible and you knew what the Bible actually said, then you would know that that is true. But again, they say that it's a conspiracy theory. So all of these things, and there's so much more that happened, were just lie after lie. And the schools, my God, the things that happened inside of the schools. I had to take my daughter out of public schools because you can't trust them anymore. Because there was paperwork that went out that said that if something happens, if there's an emergency, they can keep your kid locked in the school. You could not have access to get your kid out. Then there's more paperwork that went out that said that they can be vaccinated without your knowledge. And then Michigan, what the fuck, Michigan? Why Michigan would you vote for this stuff with proposal that allows your teenagers, your kids, at 13 years old to go get an abortion without your knowledge, to get vaccinations without your knowledge, and for state taxpayers to pay for it? And yet we're okay with this? All of this came crashing down on me at once. And so for me, everything was turned upside down. And the dark night of the soul really took hold very deeply. There's a little bit of joy and happiness for you. So, why is Spirit telling me to talk to you about all of this right now? That is because Spirit knows, and I know that for many of you that have gone along with what has been happening, as you now look at the politics in our world, and you look at the current president, and you hear now that there is no single Democrat that is more qualified than the single president that we have right now to be in charge. And then you look at the Republican candidate, you realize that this whole thing is just a show as well. The red versus blue, again, it's just a way to divide the people. And then you look at taxes, and they're taking 60% of your income. Some of it through your work taxes, some of it through your property taxes, some of it through your gas taxes, some of it through the taxes that you get when you buy food, some of it through the taxes that you get when you eat out, your road taxes, everything else that they're charging you for. Now they want to charge you for a carbon tax when they're the ones that are polluting the earth. Everything is a facade. Everything is a show until you learn and until you see that you are the creator of your destiny. And you have to stop listening to what everybody else is telling you, including me. You've got to start listening to what Spirit is telling you. And a lot of people say, I have a great relationship. Jesus and I'm not religion, I'm relationship. But you are in religion if you're judging people and thinking that they're going to heaven or hell because they do or don't believe in one man. That is religion. And when they tell you that you're going to go to hell, like let's use for example the wheat and the chaff, and how most churches describe that as the wheat are the people, when it gets divided, that the wheat are the people that are going to move on to heaven, and the chaff is going to be the people that are thrown into the lake of fire and they're going to burn forever. But if you look at it, you will learn, and if you know about what happens to wheat and chaff and the division between them, you will know that the chaff is separated from the wheat so that it can be torn down and it can be burned. But that burning is a refinement process. That burning is to clear out all of the bullshit and to make it so that you can see things clearly again, and then that stuff is thrown back into the earth where it can grow back again as wheat instead of the chaff. But instead, you're being told that means you're going to hell. And there's so many other examples that I could give you of where they use things in the Bible to cause fear over and over again. And I was so deep in that trap that 6 or 7 years ago, I wrote a 13-page letter on what it took to be saved, to not go to hell. Do you have any idea how deeply depressing that is when you think that everybody around you is going to hell? Because nobody can live up to the measurements? And now here I am on the total opposite side of it, where I'm angry because of the lies and the deceit and everything that comes with it. I'm working through my anger, and I am out of the dark night of the soul. I'm no longer trapped in that because I see things for what they are. And when I hear things, I know, and my intuition tells me, is this real? Or is this what somebody else wants me to believe? So all I'm asking you today is to look, and not just to pray, because praying is talking. Meditating is listening. Unless you're doing guided meditations, then you're still kind of sort of listening, but not really. But really, meditating is really listening for Spirit to talk to you. And if all you're doing is talking in your prayers, and then you're never taking the time to stop and listen, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And let me stop there for a second and apologize to everybody who came out there in the prayer room in my church, because I prayed for you, and I prayed hard for you. But I didn't stop and listen to what Spirit was telling me. I just did what I thought at the time was what was supposed to be done. Ask for my request. And then it's over. And he'll either grant it or he won't. And if he doesn't, then I must be doing something wrong. I must still be stuck in sin somewhere or something like that. When all of it, not the praying. You need to pray. And you need to meditate. And you need to listen to what Spirit is telling you deep, deep inside of you. I'm sorry for anybody that this has triggered. I know it will trigger a lot of you. But just know that if you need help going through the dark night of the soul, because all of a sudden these things are being shown to you and you're seeing all of the lies, that I'm here. I've been there. I've been through it, and I can help you get through it. For me, when I told you that I heard Spirit tell me that my people will die from a lack of knowledge, the very next day I got chronic diarrhea, and I ended up with that chronic diarrhea for 11 months, and it almost killed me because the doctors couldn't help me. They couldn't figure out physically what was wrong with me. They had no idea physically what was wrong with me. But through one bioenergetic scan, I found out that the cause of my chronic diarrhea was the uncertainty that I had surrounding me and the fear that I had that everybody that I loved was falling into this trap as I watched person after person subject themselves to this experiment. It was too much for me at the time. But that one bioenergetic scan and then the treatment that came along with the bioenergetic scan completely cleared up my diarrhea. And now I'm healthier than I've ever been. I feel better than I ever have. I feel lighter. I feel more hope in this world of uncertainty where all they're talking about right now is war, about the economic crash, about anything negative that they can come up with. I'm not worried about it because I know I am the creator of my own world, and I can look back on my life and I can see where the impossible has become possible because I believed it and because I wanted it enough to go after it and to make things happen for it. And if I wouldn't have done that and I would have just said, well, that's impossible, it would have never happened. If I would have sat there and just prayed that this stuff happened, but I didn't take the steps to make it happen and to realize that I am my own creator, it would have never happened. So for me, if you hear anything at all today, know that you are the creator of your life each and every day when you wake up. It is for you to know. This day is mine. This day is what I make of it. Even if you're going into a bad meeting where you're all stressed out, you can completely change the trajectory of that meeting if you see things from a different light. Maybe try looking at it from the point of view of somebody else in the room, and it might help you. But regardless, question yourself and ask yourself why you feel the way that you do. In fact, when this video triggers you and you get really angry about it, then ask yourself, why does this make you so angry? Is it because what you believe is being challenged and you're just not ready yet, which a lot of you won't be, and that's okay. But if you get angry, you're not getting angry at me. You're getting angry at yourself because your beliefs are being challenged and you can't handle that. And that's okay, because we've all been there. So none of this comes with any judgment on anybody, whether you're still wearing a mask. My heart just breaks for you anytime I see somebody in a mask now. That's all. I don't think that I'm righteous. I don't think that I'm better than them. I don't think that they're stupid. I think that they're so full of fear that they just can't see the truth. And that breaks my heart. It genuinely breaks my heart. So if I've definitely triggered you now, I'm really sorry. But you need to uncover your face, and you need to let the Spirit come through you, because it's calling and it's calling, and every time you put on a mask, you're making yourself sicker and you're subjecting yourself to fear. So I'm going to wrap it up right now because I'm over 20 minutes, and I doubt most of you have continued on for all 20 minutes. But I've done what I've needed to do, and I've said what I needed to say. So if you're still here, thank you for listening. And if you've been through the dark night of the soul and you're on the other side of it, please comment about how you did it and how long it took you. And if you had support, or if you did what I did and went into hiding for 4 years while you figured it all out. But I love you guys, and I'm here for you if you need somebody to talk to. Always and truly. Have a good day.